Hey guys, welcome back to the This Is Soul Skate Shop YouTube channel. There are many different inline skate braking techniques, but the T-brake might be one of the most important ones. In this video, I'll show you all the steps it takes to learn it. Welcome to the tutorial on learning how to T-brake. The first step, hey, another inline skater, yo, no problem. Can you brake? No? Okay, see? So it's really important to learn how to brake. The first step is in learning to T-brake is putting all your weight on your front foot and learning to actually ride on one foot, because in the T-brake you have your weight on the front foot. So you need to be able to handle that. So step one is doing a couple of exercises all surrounding skating on one foot. And what skating on one foot actually is controlling the position of your one foot to readjust your balance. So imagine you having a broom in your hand, like a long broomstick. And if you want to balance it, you're constantly moving your hand to readjust the balance. And now, just imagine that you are a broom and that you need to adjust your own balance. So what your hand is doing with the broom, this is what your feet needs to do when you're doing a one-footed skate. So your foot needs to be able to steer. So to learn to skate on one foot, we need to learn to steer. A good way to learn to steer is doing a little lemon move. So you have to stand in a V shape like this, then you go wide and go to like an A shape like this. Do this a couple of times and make it as short and wide as possible. So go really wide and do it in a short movement. That makes you do a really rough and short steer movement. So this is the first step. This is actually the easy part of the steering, because there's two types of adjustment. It's the outer one, but then there's also the inner one, and this is the harder part. So after you do the lemons, we need to do the harder part as well. The harder part can be done in a couple of different ways. You can do it in a really steep turn, because what we need to do is to have our left foot on the right side of the body. So if you go in a really steep turn, you're leaning actually a little bit over. The other way is to do it in a double push. When skaters are beginners, they skate like this, but really good advanced skaters, they actually take their right foot and do it all the way to the left side every time. So I'll show you how a double push looks like. And this is a really good way to learn how to balance on one foot. The third way of learning how to ride on one foot is to doing a little bit of slalom moves. So this will also enable your right foot to go on the left side of your center of balance. So just pick like a little thing on the ground, like a spot, and try to cross over it like this. It's really difficult to do, but it's a really good exercise in how to steer your foot and to create your balance. Then the next step is just to kind of like go for it and practice skating on one foot. It takes a lot of practice, but keep on repeating it, and all this helps for learning the T-brake. When you're practicing skating on one foot, try to steer as much as possible. So that's step one. Now let's move on to step two. To practice any technique that you want, it's always smart to start at the end. And the end of the T-stop is actually coming to a standstill. The end position is, of course, a standing still T. So first see if you can stand like this, and then just open up a little bit, wide and close. This is actually the first exercise that I want you to do for doing the actual T-stop. Get into a perfect T, ride out wide and ride back to a short position again. Then if you repeat this a couple of times, you can use it to push off and then do a little drag with your last foot of about 10 centimeters. I'll show it. All right, I make it look really easy, but I bet if you do this, you get really unstable. And the general rule is then, if you do it and you get unstable, just keep on repeating it. If you do it and you got kind of stable, you can push off harder. So let's just repeat it a couple of times. The most important thing with this is that you have about 90% of your weight on your rolling foot. The foot that is dragging almost doesn't have any weight at all. And this is why we first did step one, riding on one foot. If you master this technique, then you're ready to do the actual TBrake while riding. So now we're gonna do the actual TBrake from a riding position. So we're going to start riding, lift up your back foot and put it in the T shape. Keep your weight on your rolling foot and just slowly drag it very slightly to the ground until you stand still. You're probably going to lose balance and have to readjust your foot at the end to roll normal again. If you do this, there's no problem, it's normal. It just takes a lot of repetition to be able to do the TBrake. Nobody can do this at one try, so you need to do it hundreds of times before you can do it perfectly. If you do have to do a readjustment like this, then next time you try it, go a little bit slower. So every time you have to do a readjustment, go slower. If you can do it until you stand perfectly still, then you can either do the same speed again or go a little bit faster the next time. So take these parameters. If you do it good, you can do it faster. If you have to readjust, you go a little bit slower. Practice it a lot of times, and then after a lot of repetitions, you're able to do the TBrake. This is the way to do the progress to a perfect TBrake. There's also a lot of other braking techniques, of course, and there's also a lot of different information on our YouTube channel about different cool stuff to learn, hardware insights about why you maybe have a heel brake on your skate, or what's up with laces and all sorts of cool stuff. There are differences between braking techniques and stopping techniques, and this is a definition. There's kind of an overlap, and maybe you don't really realize it that there's a difference, but let me explain it to you. The difference is that if you have a stopping technique, you use it to come to a complete standstill. A braking technique is a technique that you use to actually slow down with. So let's say you do a TBrake and you wanna, there's a intersection and you need to do an exact stop at the intersection, because otherwise you're gonna be run over by a car. Then maybe the TBrake is not the best technique, because the TBrake is a braking technique and it's not a T-stop, it's more like a TBrake technique. So it's hard to come to a complete stop with the TBrake. So you use a combination between the TBrake and another technique if you really want to come to a complete standstill. And this other technique, I call it, because I never heard somebody else call it in a way, so I named it myself. I call it grab the peanut butter technique. So, because this is what I use in the supermarket. If I want to grab some peanut butter, I skate and then I just step, and then you can do whatever, or you can open the door or press the button for the traffic lights or something like this. So again, you skate and you do this. So now in combination with the TBrake, you brake like this and then you do the grab the peanut butter technique. You can do the perfect combination. More braking techniques are also on our YouTube page. So for the grab the peanut butter technique, or the pizza plow, or the snow plow, power slide, All those techniques, we all have them on our website and on our YouTube channels. Using the TBrake can create some flat spots on your skates. And this is when it's worn down on only one side and then the wheel's not really round again. If you're an advanced skater, you can do the T-stop with a little bit of an angle so that your wheels keep on rotating a little bit, and then this prevents you from getting some flat spots. All right, so now you know all the steps it takes to learn the TBrake. Again, it's really hard to do, so it takes a lot of repetitions. I advise every time you go skate to maybe do a couple of laps in the park, but also go on a safe spot like we are right now here, where there's not too many people, and then just take 15 or a half hour, 50 minutes or a half hour to practice some of these techniques. What are your favorite braking techniques? Drop this in the comments so that other people can learn, and also I'm really interested in knowing which techniques you use to come to a stop. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.